So my name is Walter Kiefer. I'm a senior staff scientist here at LPI. I've been working here for 25 years. Was an intern actually before that. I'm a planetary geophysicist, which means I study the insides of planets. I use math and physics and computer models to understand how heat comes out of planets. That's important because heat coming out of planets is what drives a lot of the geology, volcanism in particular. On Earth it drives a lot of other geology, but on planets like Venus and Mars, it's responsible for creating the volcanoes like Olympus Mons or Beta Regio. And I get to make computer models of that. In the case of Mars, I get to test those models by looking at observations of Martian meteorites. I think the coolest thing I've gotten to do at LPI was to work in the Lunar Sample Lab at the Johnson Space Center. I needed to know the density of moon rocks in order to, for a project I was working on, and the data that existed wasn't very good, and so I wrote proposals to NASA to get access to certain samples. I put together a research team, and we've used the laser scanner there to measure the density of rocks. That was important for me because it was my opportunity to become a part of the GRAIL team. GRAIL was a NASA mission that mapped the gravity of the moon and used it to study the internal structure of the moon, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. And being a part of missions is always is something that pretty much every planetary scientist wants to do, and I had that good fortune. The most important thing that's happened in planetary science in the last 50 years. Part one is, I think, the single most important thing was the astronauts landing on the moon, because that gave us rocks that give us the history, that tell us about the history of the moon. And from my perspective, it was important also because I was a 7-year-old when this happened. And it's why I do what I do now, because it excited me, and it's why I'm in planetary science and why a lot of people my age entered it. More broadly, I would say that the last 50 years has let us see the solar system for the first time. Seeing volcanoes on Mars, seeing that picture on the cover of the Weekly Reader when I was in 4th grade, seeing volcanoes erupting on Io, or the rings of Saturn from inside the rings, seeing Pluto for the first time. That's something that only my generation will get to do. After this, it will be something that everybody knows and they just see from pictures in the books, but I got to watch it unfold, and that was really, really fun.